Back to Industry Insights. Today we have quite a few representatives from Nucor coming to tell us about the company, their positions there, and just general insights into the industry. My name is Mike Kimmel, and it's a pleasure to work with you all again. So anybody would like to go first, please feel free to start and tell us a bit about Nucor.
Sure. Hi, I'm Josh Latterell. I'm the design supervisor here at Vulcraft, New York, a division of Nucor. I've been here with the company for 5 years now and supervise the engineering team. My favorite part about Nucor is the people and the people that are a part of this team. It's a great culture here.
Go next. My name's Holly Schaubert. I've been with Nucor for 14 years. I've actually worked for 3 different Nucor companies. So Nucor has divisions from coast to coast. I started with Nucor at Verco Decking on the West Coast in California, and I was there for 10 years. And I'm an engineer, by the way. And then I moved over to Nucor Building Systems in Indiana about 3.5 years ago. And at Nucor Building Systems, they design and fabricate full steel buildings. And then just a few months ago, I transferred to Vulcraft in New York. And here I am a joist design engineer as well as a business development lead. So again, Nucor has companies all across the country, 29,000 employees, plenty of opportunities to try just different things. If you're looking for a new challenge, Nucor is open to helping you with that.
Great.
I'm Emma Rondo. I am also a design engineer here at Vulcraft of New York. I've only been here for about 7 months now. So I originally graduated from University of South Carolina in civil engineering. And I had never been to New York before, so I moved all the way up the coast just for this job. So yeah, my favorite thing here pretty much has been the culture. They've definitely brought me in like family. And on top of engineering, I am also our main engineering recruiter. So any questions for recruiting can definitely come to me. And even if it's not engineering related, I can definitely lead you elsewhere.
Thank you. My name is Matt Hollywood. I've been with Vulcraft New York for 19 years. Started back in 2003. Started off in an entry-level position on the rigging table. No experience welding, no experience with fabrication. So I was taught all that here. Became a production line supervisor. Worked through that for probably about last 10, 12 years in different roles in production. And most recently became the maintenance supervisor. My favorite part, we'll say a ton of time and time again, is the culture. The best part about being here at Vulcraft is helping build a community, getting the community involved and hiring people within the community and making a strong community. Very active in our community, and I think that's important to remember, to keep your community involved and to get the youth involved to see what we do.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for the amazing introductions. And it's nice to have that, for folks that are early on in their careers and folks that are well settled in, it's nice to really have that split. And it actually caused me to think of some side questions. So for the folks that have been around 10 plus years, what keeps you staying at Nucor? So you briefly touched on the workplace culture. Each of you really discussed that. So do you mind just kind of delving a bit further into that for any interested prospective employees?
I actually just did a LinkedIn post about what has kept me at Nucor for 14 years. So I have some answers to this question already.
We will link that. We'll be sure to link that.
Okay. One of the main things is, from the beginning, I did feel like I was working with people that treated me like family. And so when I started at Verco Decking, the person, my manager, I didn't have a car, and he would pick me up and take me to work. He would invite me to his family's house for Thanksgiving. And that meant a lot to me. And I really did feel like I was a part of the family. So that's been key. I mentioned in my introduction just the ability to find new challenges, be challenged in different ways. You know, I've worked for 3 different companies in different roles at each of those, all within Nucor. And I always feel like there's something new for me to learn and a new challenge. It's never been stagnant for me. Yeah, and then the third thing that I like to mention is I've always felt like the leaders that I'm working with at Nucor display integrity. That's one of Nucor's core values, but I really feel that the leadership exemplifies that. So those are the top 3 things for me.
Great. Thank you, Holly.
Yeah, I'd like to add on that. I agree with you 100%. The opportunities they get throughout Nucor, to Holly's point, moving from 3 different divisions, almost seems endless. As much drive as you have, you can continue to progress in your career, and also build teams. I think what kept me here, it's a great paying job. They pay for performance. The harder you work, the more money you make. Was key to me in my younger years, right? You start developing teams and you start leading, you get to realize that you get to help mold all these young men, women, and just become better young men and women, help their families. And that's been probably the most gratifying part of my career.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, as far as we keep mentioning the family aspect, and I feel like a lot of employers say that, we feel like a family here, but the 2 other jobs I held, I was happy at those jobs. And when I came here, it was remarkable. The amount of people that wish you well day in and day out, saying hi to everyone in the hallway. Everyone just has a positive attitude here. There's just good, genuine, nice people that work for Nucor and Vulcraft, and we want to add people like that to our team.
Great. And Emma, since you are fresh onto the scene in this company, what drew you in the first place?
Yeah, so I can definitely speak on that because I was going through multiple interviews while I was interviewing with Nucor. And what really drew me into them was just my comfort level here. As you're interviewing for companies, they're not only interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them. You want to make sure you're at a company where you are comfortable. I'm spending hopefully the rest of my life here. Hopefully.
That's a good start.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully continuing my career here at Nucor. But you're spending a lot of your days here. So you want to make sure you're with people you enjoy. And that's what I really liked. When interviewing with Nucor, it didn't feel like an interview. I was just conversing with the candidates. It was really just conversation. I mean, every interview you go into, you're nervous. So I was very nervous, but after about 10 minutes, it just was more relaxing, and I felt like I was just having a conversation with them, and it was really nice. So, yeah.
Great. Those are some great answers, and the insight from, like I said, both ends of the spectrum is very much necessary as recent graduates or expecting graduates really consider life after college and what that will look like. Like you said, there's nothing wrong with challenging yourself and going from place to place, because you need to follow your own passion. You need to follow your own work ethic and challenge yourself. But it sounds like Nucor really offers both the challenges and the family-oriented culture that keeps people around well after a decade. So thank you all. And that brings us to our next question, which is, what are some skills and competencies you look for in prospective employees?
So I can speak on this, considering we are going through the career fair process. One thing we look for a lot in candidates is leadership potential. We really like our candidates to show that quality. And it doesn't have to be people who always stand out as extroverted. I myself am not the most extroverted person. But just someone who's willing to take on that position, lead a team, and just kind of take initiative in the office or out in the plant, wherever they are working. And then we also look for a lot of teamwork within our teammates. Because we are such a family-oriented company, we really like everyone here to get along. So a good team aspect is good.
Great, thank you, Emma. Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
I don't.
Oh, wow.
If not, no worries. Emma did such a great job. So next question. What makes an incoming employee at your company really stand out?
I'll take that if I can. So from teammates that are coming in, and what we're looking for when we hire teammates on the production side is really good attitudes and values that match ours. That's the biggest thing. To Emma's point earlier about teamwork, when we're interviewing, and that's a key thing that we're looking for, is somebody that can work as part of a team. That will treat people the right way and take care of each other. When we say it's a family here, it's a family here. Point, whether you need a ride, or you need me to pick you up, or whatever that may be, we take care of each other. And I like to see that kind of stuff in an interview when we're looking for candidates, is how are they taking care of the people in their lives and their teams.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting, because that's not something that you would readily expect an employer to touch on. But as you've all, really echoed among yourselves, because it's family oriented, you're really looking to see, how a person treats others. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, just not for Nucor, but for anybody watching this that, is applying right now to other positions, other companies. Definitely something to remind yourself at the end of the day, some of those soft skills.
Absolutely.
And so for somebody that's been at the company, say 5-10 years, what continues to help them grow within the company? What sort of values or attitudes should they possess? Is this the same things that they possess coming in, and it's just a continuation, or are there some other skills or attitudes that they pick up along the way?
We're pretty committed to development. Teammate development is certainly something that we strive for. So, we're meeting with each of our team members once a month or more to talk about, things that we're working on as far as communication or speaking out in front of people, or, we're always trying to hone our skills as leaders or just teammates. So I think that's it's a continuation, but we're building on things that make us better, friends, husbands, wives,
Sure,
brothers, sisters, everything, just better people. But we're constantly trying to develop as leaders too.
great. Sounds like there's an investment in employees that continues throughout their time there. So that brings us to our next question. How does Nucor, from each of your perspectives, practice diversity, equity, inclusion? And if you can offer any examples for that.
I have an example. Do you guys have any?
I do as well, but go ahead, Josh.
So we had a teammate who had been applying at different companies for a long time. Mansour Soufran, he was from Saudi Arabia, and he finally came on board, and he was such an incredible teammate, and he actually just left at the beginning of the year. He had some troubles back home with his brother and his family. He had to leave. We actually just touched base with him about a month ago, got an update from him. He's doing well. He's glad he's home with his brother, but he does miss Nucor. But Mansour was a great case of, he learned of the company when he was in Saudi Arabia and worked his tail off here in the States. Actually, pretty remarkably, learned the English language in college and spoke it very fluently when he was here. Yeah, he was remarkable. We miss him now, but we're looking for good people, good leaders, good teammates. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, and building from a different perspective on that. So I think both me and Holly could speak from the women's perspective. Being in our side of the field with engineering, we are surrounded by a lot of men. And that's one thing I loved about this company. I had previous internships where it was very obvious that I was in the boys club and I was treated a little differently. And coming into this job, the people here were very aware of that. It came up in interviews. And everyone here is extremely nice. I've never felt that way here. I've never felt like I was treated differently or like anyone sees me differently because I am a woman in engineering. And everyone, they do ask me constantly, how are you feeling? Do you ever feel like you aren't represented well here? So I do know they're trying to make sure I feel comfortable here and that I never don't feel like I'm in an awkward position. So knowing that I just have people that have my back here is great.
Yeah, that's nice of you to share, considering a lot of the, some of the women's chapters on campus with Women's Society of Engineers, for example, definitely trying to break into a field that's been traditionally men dominated is difficult. So it's great to hear that at Nucor you feel welcomed.
Yes, always.
Speak a little bit to on another kind of related topic. I think regarding hiring practices, Nucor is very equitable. I did a lot of interviewing and hiring when I was at Nucor Building Systems, and am starting to get involved with that at Vulcraft as well. But at Nucor Building Systems, we had a very like I said, equitable, uniform hiring practice. We have core competencies that we are evaluating for each candidate. We ask the same questions of every candidate, and we evaluate each of those core competencies very fairly to try to eliminate any of unconscious biases or anything like that. So I, participating in that, I felt like that we were being as equitable as we could.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things I've seen is from our corporate down through all of our Nucor facilities is being able to understand other cultures. So I know we've had a lot of different diversity training and things like that to be able to understand the other person's perspective. Right? I think that's been helpful. I think that's opened up a lot of people's minds and keeps us out of that tunnel vision. And I found that beneficial.
That's great to hear about the hiring practices and trying to build upon those core competencies. You said there were 4, and really in an attempt to recognize that our own unconscious bias that comes into play and what we need to check, and using the tools at your disposal to pick the best candidate, right, while recognizing the characteristics that they have and welcoming those. So it's great to hear that there's trainings as well to, embrace this all. So thank you all. For our next question, and this keeps in line with the, championing the employee. And so since this is a family-oriented company, how is employee feedback collected and used to further Nucor's goals?
Sure. We've been doing, so we'll do a survey, I believe every 2 years and every 3 years. Okay. Every 3 years we do a company-wide survey rating, how available is your leader? How comfortable do you feel in the workplace? Getting that feedback anonymously so that, people can speak their minds and then obviously with an open form at the bottom of any additional feedback that you want. But also that's part of the reason we do the cadence of the one-on-ones monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever depends on the teammate and the situation, but to make sure that each teammate feels comfortable, and if give them a platform to give feedback, as often as they want.
Sure. For those one-on-ones, is that with a mentor or is that with a supervisor?
Generally with a supervisor, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was something I really liked about Nucor when I started here. They always encourage open communication. I know at certain companies you are not expected to talk back to the boss, not really encouraged as much to speak out. But here, if Josh is in my office and I don't think he's right, I'm like, I don't think that's right. Let's talk about it more.
So give me feedback, and I appreciate it.
So we really do encourage open communication here, and I can speak at least for my supervisor. They do listen very well and try to take that feedback and better themselves and be better leaders. So,
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Emma.
You're welcome.
I will say it's different from division to division how one-on-ones are set up. But I think as a whole, Nucor does try to make sure that there are either mentors or one-on-ones with your supervisor. So I can say at Nucor Building Systems, what we did was mentorship pairings between a more experienced teammate and some of the newer teammates. We had a lot of newer teammates and we wanted them to have, someone they could meet with regularly. Some of them did meet every week or like similar to here, every 2 weeks or once a month, whatever they decided between the mentor and the newer teammate, how they wanted to set it up.
And do those mentors, do they enjoy that process of giving back? Kind of like Matt was kind of touching upon that, really building up the next generation, the next wave of employees. So Matt, it sounds like you have some experience in that arena, but do they report back and then do you try to tweak that process?
Yes, absolutely. It's a continuing evolution, right, throughout their career. What they're focused on, what they're working on. Our things that we encourage is feedback. So you're talking about mentoring. All of our teammates mentor each other. On to Emma's point, she can give Josh feedback, but she can come out here and give me feedback. She can come and give DM feedback, all right? And she can give her peers feedback. And we're very open to that. And that's people the right way, right? So if you go to that feedback and your feedback is meant to help and not tear down, that is going to be received very well at Nucor. And that's what we try to promote, and that helps everybody build quicker and just aligned as a team.
Sure.
So, but yes, absolutely, we follow up continually with them monthly, weekly, and continue to speak where they want to go and what they want to do. Right? Things happen. You might want to be a manager, and then you have 3 kids, and then you're like, okay, my focus is here now, or that looks like your life changes to be able to change the way that you help these teammates grow.
That's great. Thank you, Matt. And so this brings us to our wrap-up questions. So what are some ways interested students, soon-to-be graduates, can get in contact and just learn more about Nucor-Vulcraft, the different divisions within your company, and just ways to get in contact with representatives?
Yeah, so I will take over that one real quick. But one of the main ways, obviously, is we'll be at the career fair next week on the 17th, the virtual one for engineering. So obviously we welcome anyone to come to that. And since we are at that career fair, we are available through Handshake. So anyone can reach out to us. I do try to be as responsive as possible as I can. So again, my name is Emma Rondo. So if you see me on Handshake, my email's on there and you can reach out to me. But we also have our website, so you can go to Nucor. Obviously, I feel like our website's pretty easy to follow, but you can go through there and look through it. And we also have all of our open positions on the website as well. So, and those are all of our full-time positions that are available right now across the country.
Gotcha. Is there, are you all on LinkedIn? Of the most important pieces of advice you would give to either yourself or to a soon-to-be graduate, that you feel would really be beneficial to them?
So from my perspective, I kind of, we talked about this in our one-on-one, Emma, a little bit. I think I wish I would have put myself in more uncomfortable positions earlier in my career. Put yourself out there, talk to people that you might not feel confident or comfortable talking to. Just put yourself out there more than what feels comfortable, because it'll only help you grow faster.
Yep, and that's a great point. And then I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but this was probably one of the most important pieces of advice I got when I was interviewing for a full-time job. I was told that I'm not only being interviewed, but I need to interview the company. You are looking for a job for yourself, and this is where you'll be for a while. So don't think of it as them just talking to you and judging everything you're doing, and make sure that you get along with who you're talking to. Make sure you fit the culture that they have, and you align with their morals and what they want out of their company, and make sure you feel comfortable talking to them and they're people you could get along with daily, because you want to feel comfortable at the company you're working at.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we want to have, great new teammates to add, but if it's not right for you, then, it's not going to be good for either of us if we're not the right fit. So.
Yeah, so for me, it's just find what you love, right? To Emma's point, find the company that fits you, but find the love in what you do, right? Every task you have is not going to be the funnest and the most fun task or whatever that is, but find how that's making you better, or find how you can challenge yourself, to Josh's point, to get out there and relationships when it's uncomfortable. When relationships come in handy and they help your career. They help you become better at your job, and there's somebody that you can go to as a mentor and seek advice when you run into a situation that is unfamiliar, right? So find something in every task that you do that's going to either help you get better or that you can find love and passion with. That's important. As you get into Nucor, where you start and where you finish in your career should probably be vastly different. Right, you can start in engineering, but you might end up in sales, or you might end up in as a let's see. So Paige started off in sales, and now she's our truck shop supervisor, right? And just as you grow and you branch out, you find these new things that you can add value to, and that's through relationships and things like that. So find the passion in everything you do.
Good.
I think you guys covered it pretty well, but I'll just add, I mean, be yourself. Be honest with yourself, with who you are and what you're looking for. Be honest with the companies that you're interviewing with what you're looking for. And then also, be willing to grow. Be looking at your future and how you want to grow. Practical piece of advice for students, that are earlier in their college career is to start talking to companies now. Look at internships so that you can really get your feet wet and have some experience under your belt before it's time to graduate, because you'll be closer to knowing what you're most interested in and what direction you want to move in. So I would just suggest doing that sooner rather than later.
Well, that's great.
That's a great point. I like that. I mean, just to add to that, one thing that I always think of is that I realized is at first I was what I wanted to do, right? I was so focused on what I wanted to do, and that was what I was passionate at, until I came here and realized, that I'm still doing really cool stuff, but I much enjoy my day-to-day life because of the people I'm doing it with. So I found that was, more important to me.
That's great. Well, thank you, everybody. Matt, Emma, Holly, Josh. I really can sense the family value and culture emanating from you all. So And I believe anybody who watches this will be able to sense the same thing. So thank you all for coming out, representing company, and as well as yourselves.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Of course, and I will link all the ways to get in contact with Nucor and Vulcraft Verco in the description, as well as the timestamps. So anybody watching, feel free to jump around to any questions that interest them the most. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.